The Airbus A300 is a medium-range aircraft, being the first wide-body twin-engine in the history of aviation, as well as the first aircraft produced by Airbus CAs. The first flight of this significant plane was made on October 28, 1972, and the aircraft was manufactured by Airbus from 1972 to 2007, having been technologically improved over the years by Airbus, and many units of the A300 still fly these days, thanks to the modernization of their cockpit. It is capable of carrying about 280 passengers traveling medium distances. Sold about 561 units. Airbus A300 was the first aircraft of the consortium Airbus, formed by France, Germany, Great Britain, and Spain. It was launched in the early 1970s, and its series production began in May 1974, being the first wide-body with two engines in the world. The model was provisionally called A300 by the maximum estimated capacity of seats. The first prototype flew on October 28, 1972, after approval by the French and German authorities. In March 1974, the first units were delivered to Air France. A300B1. Only two aircraft of this version were built, a prototype and another that was used by Trans-European Airways and passed on to Air Algérie 6 weeks later, continued to operate until 1990. The Trans-European Airways version had a capacity for 300 passengers, and Air Algérie of 323 passengers, with only 50.97 meters long. A300B2. It was the first version to be produced on a large scale, used the same engines as the Boeing 747-100. Soon after, a version with aerodynamic improvements known as A300B2-200, or simply 300-200. A300B4. It was a more far-reaching version compared to the previous version. A300-600. It was the last version of the model, released in 1980. The 600 version was manufactured, in its basic configuration, for 266 passengers plus 3 to 900 pounds of cargo and autonomy of 7,700 kilometers non-stop, having, according to the manufacturer, an operating cost 9% lower than its immediate competitor of the Boeing 767 season. As modifications, it incorporated some aerodynamic improvements and extensive use of composites in its manufacture. The A300 has the primacy of being the first commercial jet, after the Concorde, to use fly-by-wire control systems. The final part of the fuselage has also been modified, allowing the inclusion of 2 extra rows of seats. As the last development of the series, version A300-600R was released, which has extra tanks in the horizontal stabilizer, greater range, and cockpit equipped with FS. The model has found another niche in recent years. The operation in cargo transport. UPS and FedEx are two major customers of the type. Beluga. The Airbus A300-600 ST Super Transporter, or Beluga, is a specialized wide-body airliner used to transport aircraft parts and outsize cargoes. It received the official name of Super Transporter early on, but its nickname, after the beluga whale, which it resembles, gained popularity and has since been officially adopted. A300B10. This variation was later renamed Airbus A310.